Welcome to goal number 6 of the Traffic Geyser Express Lane Training Program. I'm Mike Koenigs, your host, and we're at keywords. Check out the fancy sign, goal 6. So let's talk about keywords. Why are they important? Well, they are how your message gets found online. In other words, all you have to do is name your content, stuff that people are looking for, and it's going to show up in the search engines. Of course, there are a few rules to this, and we're going to guide you through that process right now. Now, whether this is a video, an article, a podcast episode, a tweet, it doesn't matter what it is. Again, if you don't have keywords associated with your content, it will never get found. And we've literally seen people submit content before, and they name it nothing, and they're like, hey, I'm not getting any traffic. I wonder why. Well, that's why. So let's go through that process, shall we? The next slide I'm going to show you is a demo on how to use the Google Keyword Tool, and you'll see it in the next video. Give you a very brief and easy demonstration of the Google Keyword Tool. Now, in order to get to it, you just type in Google Keyword, and you'll see it pop up first thing on the page. And why do you want this? Well, a big part of doing video submissions is you want to name your videos something that people search for. And the best, cheap, free, easy tool that's out there is the Google Keyword Tool. Now, let's say, for example, I wanted to create a website or a video, and my goal was to focus on getting business in Denver related to Denver transmissions, for example. If I had an offline business, so if I typed in Denver transmission, for example, and got keyword ideas, here's what happens. Google is going to give you a list of all the different keywords that people search for. Okay, and you can tell how often they search for them, so the global search volume and the local search volume. So what I typically do is this just gives me a whole bunch of ideas. So I know about what kind of keywords are being searched for. So here we've got Denver parts or transmission parts, transmission flush. So one of the key things is just this alone can give you a whole bunch of great ideas. Now, the next thing that's very important, this is a basic rule of thumb, is I like to look and see how many different pages are out there. So if I just type in Denver transmission, for example, let's say I grab this and I just copy it, and I open up a new tab in my browser, and I just go to Google and type in Denver transmission, and here you can see, oh man, there's 7 million competing pages for that keyword phrase. Now, in my experience, there's a lower probability that you're going to be able to compete and actually score high with that many pages. What I love to look for is something that has 300,000 or fewer. Now, let's just go back over here, and here we've got Denver transmission repair. Now, you'll see that maybe there aren't as many people that searched for it per month, but our experience is the more specific that someone searched for in terms of some keyword, the more likely they are to buy. So if we go over here and we just change this now to Denver transmission repair, let's see how many competing pages show up. Boom. We just hit something that has only 137,000 competing pages. Well, what's great about that, again, is you look through here. First of all, we've got, there's, I look and see, are there any videos on the page? Don't see any videos. That means that if we made a video and submitted it, there's a pretty high probability we're going to be able to score fairly high. Google loves pushing videos to the top. I've gone through 3 pages, don't see them yet. Now, the next thing that tells me that there's a high probability of success is anytime I see sponsored links for whatever the keyword phrase is that I'm looking for, I know it's a money phrase. It means people are doing searches for that and people are paying for it. So that would be a great keyword phrase to name my video. And I might say Denver transmission repair, comma, and then the name of the company in that title. So that's what I would actually name my video. So now again, this can work in virtually any business in any category. But again, if you were in here right now and searching for mortgage, for example, well, you can see, well, there's 2,700,000 titles. Tons of them, okay? Yes, there's lots of sponsored links. Low probability of success. Let's go over here. Okay, let's just say mortgage. Let's see how often people are searching for that. Wow, 101 million times just in November, 151 million global. So, you know, the bottom line here is lots, but it might give us some ideas, okay? So maybe second mortgage, that's interesting. So let's say I wanted to focus on that. That was my business. Well, again, I'm going to use Denver as the example, and I might go in and type in Denver, second mortgage. Let's just see if it tells us if there's anything there. Okay, it tells us that there's not enough data. That doesn't always mean anything. Let's just go take a look up here. And again, do a quick search. Okay, so I'll type in Denver, second mortgage, 248,000. There's lots of sponsored links. And again, even though Google is reporting to us back here that there isn't enough data for that particular keyword phrase, that doesn't mean it's a bad keyword phrase, because clearly someone is searching for it. And if someone were searching for a second mortgage and they lived in Denver, they're probably very interested in buying. So again, what I will tell you is keyword research is something that you get used to doing. It takes some practice to get good at it. But what I use the Google Keyword tool for is an idea generator. It helps me find good keywords, and then I do my little research. Again, anytime that I find somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 or fewer, I know I can go after it, especially if there are sponsored links. Now, I will also give you this little caveat. In my experience, I have frequently found that I can submit videos in highly competitive keyword phrase areas, and even when there's like millions of competing phrases, I can still score very high. So it's a general rule of thumb. It's not in always. And again, this takes some practice. The best cure and the best way to consistently get great results is to submit frequent content. Okay, and also use Traffic Geyser's all of its features of going out to video sites, social media, social marketing, going out to the article sites and the podcasts as well, which you'll learn in a more advanced lesson. So I hope you found this interesting. Like I said, keyword research is one of those things that you get good at. It does take some practice, but you'll get used to it, and you'll start finding some little sweet spots and seeing some opportunities. Again, especially looking down here for the synonyms. This is where the gold lies, and the key to being successful is finding niches and being specific, especially in local categories. Hope you found this particular video informative and educational. And like I said, this is an area where some people get frustrated. Takes a little practice, but I promise you, you will get good at this with a little bit of experience and practice. See you in the next video. Now here's a new fancy word. It's metadata. So what is it and how is it used? Well, it sounds complicated, but it's really very easy. Number one is the title. That's your keyword title that describes your video or your article or whatever it is. This is the most important thing in the submission process. Next, you have a description of your video. Now, one of the things that we teach you, very important, is you always begin your description with your URL or your domain name of the video or the page that you want to send traffic to. And finally, you are going to be associating keywords so the search engines can find and index it. These are also known as tags. Now let's talk a little bit about how influence engines drive traffic.
Now, you've got video sites, you've got article sites, you've got social bookmarking sites, you've got social networks, you have blogs, and podcasts. Okay, all of those together feed the big search engines. The next video that I'm going to share with you is one of our login preferences. This is where all the login details for all of the influence engines that we submit to point to. This is where your user IDs and passwords are all located. I'll see you inside.
Let me share with you the Login Preferences page. These are found under the Tools menu. And this is where we have all of your user IDs and passwords for all the influence engines that we support. Let me explain. We have support for what we call multiple profiles. These are a combination of your user IDs and passwords for all of the influence engines that we support. You can see here we have over 30 video sites supported, a whole bunch of podcast sites, blog sites, social bookmarking sites, status sites, article sites. We have 40 of those. Well, now here's the deal. We're always adding new ones. That's one important thing to know. And what you'd need to do normally is you'd go to each one of these and you'd click the link and actually visit that website and create a user ID and password for each one of these. So you'd have to go and do register today. So let's say your username was my user, and let's say your email address was myname@domain.com, and your password was abc1234. Okay? Well, now what you could do is if you already had user IDs on, let's say, this site, and they were the same, and maybe this site, we went down here, and let's say you had them on a couple of podcast sites already, and maybe your own blog site, okay, and maybe this site and this site. Well, what you do is go and check off the ones you have, click the fill, and what we'd automatically do is actually put the appropriate username and password in each one of these. Okay? And then once you click the update, it would actually store all those for you. So you wouldn't have to enter them manually. In the old days, this is very, very tedious. This is one of the things that Traffic Geyser saves you from doing. Now, let me explain to you why you might want multiple profiles. Now, let's say, for example, that you create videos for, let's say, 4 different clients or customers, or maybe 4 different businesses of your own. What would be kind of weird if maybe one of your clients was in the architecture business and another one sold slippers. If someone visiting one of the video sites saw slippers for sale right next to architecture, it would look kind of weird. And in our experience, it's a really good idea to have a different profile for each business, unless they're all your own and there's some relationship between those. Traffic Geyser allows you to support as many profiles as you want. So when you end up submitting your content, it can go to any one of those different businesses if you'd like. It's a great way of delineating between each of them. And again, what you want for your customers who find your videos is to have an experience on each one of these sites. And you don't want it to look weird. It's not critical, but in our experience, it's really good at least to have one that you'd call your premium profile and another one that would be one of your test or your junk profiles as well. Sometimes if you're resubmitting the same video, you wouldn't want those to show up as duplicates in your main account. So, hope that answered all your questions. Make sure if you have any, you can always visit the support desk and ask any questions. But this should answer virtually anything that you'd want to know about setting up your login preferences. Good luck in your submissions. Okay, you knew this was coming. Your first assignment. This is where you research your keywords using the free Google Keyword Tool. Right, so here's the end of this video. I'm going to see you in the next one, but I want to remind you that you made a smart choice. Traffic Geyser, it's easy, you can do it, and it works. See you soon.